Once again, I do want to say thank you guys for joining us today. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is coming up, and this is a really important topic, and everyone appreciates you for sharing your journey. I want to take it back to the beginning of the journey when you guys' lives changed in a sense. Keely, what was it like to start your college football career knowing your mom was fighting cancer?
It was definitely one of the hardest moments of my life. Really understanding and coming like to the sense that my mom definitely had breast cancer for sure after she went and got her scanning, um, as well as being away from her in college. Going through that, as well as with school and everything like that. Um, as well as football too. And actually in that point in time, I actually wasn't able to play because I had an injury. So being taken away from the game, which is one of the main things our mom is actually proud of me for, of being able to go to college and play football at such a high level overall. It was, man, it's kind of hard to put into words of the feeling of really understanding that your mother's going through something and she's necessarily fighting for her life as well as you're far away from her in a sense at the same time.
I can only imagine. And you guys have kept each other going throughout this entire journey. You guys were there for each other in whatever ways you can. And truly, I want to ask, what gave you the strength to continue supporting your son through his college football career while you were undergoing treatment yourself?
Oh, goodness. Well, I had already had the plan to get him off to college, and then I was going to sell the house and pack up and relocate to not miss a single football game, not even realizing what the year of 2020 football was going to consist of. But I then, um, as got him out the door to college, but just being a busy single mom, I put him as a priority. And so I had kind of neglected, and this is a lot of my story, I neglected myself. And so I was due to get my eyes checked, and I was due to probably get my teeth cleaned. But most importantly, I had been neglecting a palpable mass located on my left breast, kind of at 10 o'clock if you were facing me. And it was pencil eraser size. And my just not being 40 years old and just not and cancer not running in my family, I didn't believe it was cancer. And so I made the choice, which I believe a lot of women do, put their children and their families before their themselves. And that's a mistake that I made that almost cost me my life. um Excuse me. But regarding I was on my way to relocate behind my son, and he uh ended up having a season ending shoulder injury. And I was mid chemo, jumped on the plane and came out there just as a mom. Now looking back, I have no idea how I even did that. I was so skinny and so deflated. And um, I just it was just instinct to get on the plane and go out to see and support my son while he was going through that shoulder injury. And that was all in the very first 6 weeks, basically, of even my treatment. Um, but I had intentions on packing up the house and relocating behind my son. And having gone to get catch up on doctor's appointments, I ended up receiving the information 9 days after he reported to college that I had breast cancer. I was confident through my cancer fight. Um, I honestly, I didn't know what I didn't know, and I stand corrected. I didn't understand the fight that was going to be in front of me when I received that news. I realized that I needed to start chemo, but even at the time, I didn't realize how terrible the treatment was going to be, and the surgeries and complications, which again is a lot of my story. Um, I neglected my health and didn't um, and and didn't realize it. I'm sorry, and I don't even think I answered your question.
So, what was the core of that motivation to keep you going? I know in a previous interview you mentioned it was hard to walk, it was hard to open a can of soda. So, what was that core motivation for you to keep going and overcome those obstacles?
My son is. We have a same team, and he's everything I have. And I just love and support him and follow him. And obviously, he went to Georgia, and I began my treatment in Phoenix, Arizona, and ended up following him to Georgia, and then now obviously I'm up here in Philly. But I just have a commitment to my son that only mothers could understand.
And going to Kelee, when you first learned of your mom's diagnosis, what were your initial thoughts and your fears? How did you process that news?
My initial thoughts were that what's the next plan? What's the next thing we can do to help her get her treatment? Of course, nobody wants to see their mother in pain. Um, Most people look at their mother as a superhero. Of course, I do as you see. But man, just honestly, I just want to see my mother happy and just in good shape overall. So that was the first thing I had to think about. It was never that we were gonna lose any fight we're gonna go through. I know I had full faith in the Lord that He had us in every single step of the way, and it was fully displayed. So that was it.
And she mentioned a pact that you guys have within the bond that you guys share. How did that influence your mindset during your college career?
It's really huge, man. One thing I was telling my mom was that anything I was gonna go through is no comparison to what she had to go through overall. So any adversity I was going through, man, just knowing that my mother standing next to me, there was nothing that could really go against me in those moments.
Yeah, you guys were strong before everything happened. Like I said, you guys have been supporting each other throughout this entire situation. Did your relationship grow stronger in the midst of everything, and how so?
Go ahead.
Um, I definitely would say continue to go stronger. I feel like with any bond in life overall, your relationships for your bonds are truly tested when there is adversity or you go through something. So and whether it's communication, whether it's and just continue to lean on each other overall. So everybody's greater when you're together. So just having that mindset, continue to step forward with that.
Being a single mom with one child, he has been there for me. They say, that your first child raises you. Um, sure, I took care of him, but the roles aggressively changed with my cancer and even still being in recovery. And I'm just so thankful for him being in a position to have and just be the type of young man to be. I thank him often. And I just can't believe that this is who I raised and who I have the opportunity to be around every day and who I have the chance to follow and claim that I get to be this young man's mother. I want to reflect back on I just, sarcastically said, you go ahead, because we don't necessarily go so deep. But my chemo significantly altered my personality. So when you had questioned how, our relationship, he has had to relearn me. Chemo patients go through a transition, and they call it when you're done a new normal. And I have another term for it, but it's not normal. It's ridiculousness. It's new ridiculousness that you have to learn and adjust to. And he has to adjust to it, and he's still adjusting to it. But that is also part of my message. I chose to neglect that mass. So early detection is key. You've heard that before. I never understood that when I heard that prior, until I experienced it myself, because I unintentionally chose the battle that I went through, not realizing it. And a side effect of that is chemo brain, and that is what I will go into further into my in my mentorship and into my advocacy work. But that's something that he has had to deal with firsthand, and it's not been easy.
And you chose to go publicly with everything. Was it just to raise awareness? Was it really just to share your story? What really inspired you and made you feel like this is something you needed everyone to hear.
And to add, especially as a Black woman.
Because nobody told, excuse me, nobody told me the information that I'm going to share on my platform and the vulnerability that I'm going to display, including one example, my chemo brain and what my son has had to go through and what other support systems have to go through and deal with when attempting to relearn and nurture and support their cancer patient. It's a bigger fight than people realize.
And Tralee,
I'm
as a
sorry.
Black woman,
Part of my chemo
okay.
brain is that when I get talking, I can ramble, and I couldn't tell you what the question, what you asked me. I'm just hoping I answered it. If I didn't write it down and I can reference it.
Let me just say,
Oh,
you
you're
were
totally
doing
fine.
great.
Yeah,
Yes, you
you're
were
doing
doing
amazing.
wonderful.
I wanted to ask, as a Black woman, and surrounding the awareness about cancer as a Black woman, what do you feel like you could have prevented or been more aware of as a Black woman, or did you not have that awareness?
I didn't have the awareness. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I am so disappointed in the lack of cancer awareness, which I plan to change. Because again, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't realize how bad cancer treatment is and how many people are affected by it. I thought that you take a medication that makes your hair fall out. I didn't realize you flirt with laying on your deathbed. And that information isn't out there. Also, it's important to me to communicate this specifically to the African American community and to Black women. Every chance I get, I tell us to hold each other accountable. I tell men to hold the women in their family accountable, because the specific type of breast cancer that I had is called triple negative. And it's the one and only non-hormonal type of breast cancer. It falls in the category of one of the most aggressive, and it affects us beginning at age 30, not 40. And when I had I chose a bilateral mastectomy to remove all breast tissue and completely reduce the chance of any of it coming back. My scars are my most impressive scars, my most proud scars on my chest. And I actually, regarding my advocacy work moving forward, and I'm sure we'll cover that soon, but I plan to actually expose my scars. And if I have to make you laugh or make you cry or scare you into your breast health, that's what I'm willing to do. And I wish someone would have been there to tell me what I am going to communicate. It's scary. It's a fight you would not sign up for. And depending on who I'm talking to, I'll say, you do not want that smoke. And I just can't. I just want to be someone that is in the position that's relatable and that we listen to, because again, nobody told me. And I have another quote that I like to use, and that's cancer chose the wrong bitch, because I have a big mouth and I'm going to use it.
That's what I'm talking about. I love to hear it. I love seeing a
That was
Black
so
woman.
good.
I'm just saying, it was great though. I love to see a Black woman really use her
Thank
platform to share
you.
a message, even if it's the mama in you too, because sometimes people
It's
don't
the
want to hear it,
resilience for
but you
me.
make them.
I'm girl,
Yes.
I'm auntie to you. I'm on to him. Like, I just have to make sure that we understand, and that meat is greasy.
Mhm.
We need to understand the importance of our breast health, us women, but also the African American community. we don't take our health seriously. It's so sad because there's more diagnosis to Caucasian community, and we die of it more often. Those numbers don't make sense, and we need to make it make sense. And it's unfortunate that we don't want to go into the hospital. We don't want to get checked out, and it's uncomfortable for men to get a prostate exam. Actually, that's changed recently, and thank goodness. But we have got to have uncomfortable conversations with our family and with our doctors. We need to research, and we need to know what our family history consists of. We need to know why our aunt died. We were just at a funeral. We didn't really know that they had diabetes. And that, I'm referencing cancer, but that's another example. We just have to understand our family history. We have to have uncomfortable conversations. And it would be helpful for someone, every family has someone that is head of that family. They need to call a meeting and make sure everybody understands and takes their health seriously. And the women, I think it's important to report back, or maybe have a mother and daughter day or girlfriend day and go have lunch and go get your mammograms, but get it done. And then meet next year and do it again.
That's right. And so now that you're healthy, what does it mean for you to be healthy and be a part of Keelee's professional journey right now?
When I had my surgery, there were dead cancer cells in my lymph nodes. So that was, my breast cancer was in the process of metastasizing before I was 40 years old. I don't know how much more time I had. Weeks. I'd already procrastinated 9 months. Did I have another month before that a cancer cell jumped to another cancer cell? They were in the first two. I don't know how many needed to jump before it was now metastasizing. And for those that aren't familiar with metastasizing breast cancer, it just means your lymph node system is a gateway. It's kind of a train system through your whole body. If your breast cancer gets into your lymphatic system, then you're now fighting a new fight. So with them having found them in my lymph nodes, I started chemo just in the nick of time, which is why I feel like God gave me grace. And this is so important to me, to make sure that others know that I almost did get to see my son win the Super Bowl.
Like you said something really, really important about it not just being women's health when it comes to cancer, but the Black community's health in general. In Kelee, this is something that you can relate to in your own level because you're an athlete. And while you've been sharing your family's journey and your mom's journey, what's the biggest message that you guys want listeners to take away from everything that's happened?
I would definitely say cancer doesn't discriminate for anybody. I really feel like one of the main things my mom would say is that she didn't feel like it could happen to her, or yeah, she just didn't know what she didn't know, honestly. So it's always good to be on top of things, and I feel like it's pretty easy when time goes by to let the little things kind of stack up, and so going to get scans and doing the little things of one thing maybe she said as well was get your teeth clean. Even the small things like that, you can definitely help yourself a lot.
And I know Tralee said something earlier about you having to relearn her through everything. I'm pretty sure it'll go both ways because something like this can change you both. And what do you think the biggest lesson is you guys have learned from each other going along this journey?
I would say one of the main things is that sticking together no matter what problem we go against. We're a team. No matter what it is that we're going to go through, we're going to figure it out. And I feel like that's one of the main things that's definitely helped us continue to build a good bond, and just stay together no matter what it is we face. So
And Tralee, what do you think is something that maybe he hasn't, something that he still has to learn about you and something that you've learned about him as well?
So much has evolved through my cancer because let's separate my cancer. We're talking about a young man who was a star player in college that then moved on to the NFL. And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Please repeat the question.
I was just saying the biggest lesson that he still has to learn about you and that you're still learning about him.
So by my mentioning all of those accomplishments, I lost it again.
That's okay, you're fine.
Please, one more time, and I just won't include that first example.
I'll say this. The biggest lesson that you've learned about him throughout the journey.
That he has been in the position, his strength, he's been in a position to have to go from a major position to an even bigger position. And he's had to watch me go through a transition, and he's had to be my number one support system. And he deserves so much credit. And that's part of why I'm going to bring awareness to all that cancer patients and through their treatment and through recovery they experience. It's been all on him. He's been front row and center. My experience hasn't even been divvied up to other, family members, a support system. So he is just impressive as a person, inside and out. And being a support system mentally and emotionally and financially, I don't know where I would be or how I would have gotten through this without him.
To learn more about the V Foundation's impact on cancer research, you can visit v.org.
And its motto is, don't give up, don't ever give up.